In this video, I'm gonna show you 5 quick and healthy meals I eat on repeat. They are so convenient when you want to make something that's delicious and healthy, but you don't want to spend a lot of time in the kitchen. They are all balanced with healthy carbs, healthy fats, and plant-based protein. And all recipes will be in the description, and without further ado, let's get started. So first, we have a green pea pesto. I always start by making the pasta. I use whole wheat pasta, but you can use a legume pasta if you want to make it even higher in protein. I will say though that this meal still has a decent amount of protein. I always like to cook the pasta to al dente for a lower GI index, but also because it's a little quicker, and I prefer when there's some resistance when you chew into it. Then I quickly cook the frozen green peas. You only need to bring them to a boil and then they're done, so it's super quick. Green peas will provide with protein, but they're also rich in chlorophyll, lutein, and zeaxanthin, which are good for eye health. Once the peas are done, I add them to a blender with fresh basil and garlic. Then I add seeds, and I actually like to switch it up. So this day I did a mix of hemp seeds and sunflower seeds. Hemp seeds are higher in protein and omega-3, but sunflower seeds are high in vitamin E. Then I add nutritional yeast for a cheesy flavor, but it also contains B vitamins. Then we have olive oil that is rich in polyphenols and healthy fats. I use extra virgin organic olive oil. And then I added salt, pepper, and lemon juice. Then you just want to blend it until smooth and combine it with the pasta. I like to add sun-dried tomatoes when I'm eating pesto pasta, but I also like to add cherry or plum tomatoes, and this time I had both at home, so I added both. I love this meal so much, and that is why I have it on repeat. Maybe not like every single week, but I definitely have it again and again and again. And it's great to pack for lunch if you want to do that. Just be wary of the garlic. You can have an apple after eating garlic and your breath will be fine. Just a little tip. Next, we have these TAMARI-ROASTED chickpeas. This meal itself looks so simple, but because of the way we're cooking the chickpeas, it makes everything just so much more interesting, and it's such an easy way to spice up your chickpeas in no time. So to begin, I added some avocado oil to a pan before adding in the chickpeas. While the chickpeas are becoming golden in the pan, you can prepare the sauce to save some time. I will write the measurements in the description, but it is 2 tablespoons of coconut aminos, 1 tablespoon tamari, and I prefer fresh ginger in this, but if you want to be really quick, you can use dried ground ginger. I just eyeball the ginger. Then I add 1 teaspoon apple cider vinegar and whisk it a little bit. I don't always add scallions, but I had them at home this time, so I did because they are delicious. You can also top the meal with them if you want them to be raw. The flavor is a little bit more intense if you have them raw, I feel like. When the chickpeas have crisped up a bit, you want to add the sauce and cook them until the sauce is reduced and the chickpeas look a bit sticky. Technically, you can add the chickpeas to any bowl you want, but if you want something quick and simple, I recommend eating them with rice and some steamed broccoli. I also like to sprinkle on sesame seeds in the end. And of course, I added half an avocado to balance out the meal with healthy fats. This next meal is kind of like a Mediterranean or Italian inspired stir fry. It is super flavorful but still super quick, so I love to make this when I want to eat something that really tastes good, but yeah, it doesn't take a lot of time. So first, I prepare the quinoa. You always want to rinse the quinoa before adding it to the pot to reduce the bitterness. And I like to cook my quinoa with herb salt for extra flavor than just plain salt. Then I added avocado oil to a pan. I use avocado oil because it has a high smoke point. And then I went ahead and added some red onion and garlic, and I let it cook until the onion was more translucent. Then I added in plum tomatoes and tomato paste. I definitely recommend any type of small tomatoes like cherry tomatoes or plum tomatoes, not large tomatoes, because they tend to be quite watery, at least if you get them from the grocery store. Then I added some red cooking wine. This will really elevate the flavors. And I let this cook for a while because also when you cook tomato paste like this or like saute it kind of, the flavors come out more. And I must have missed pressing record or something because I did add a cat of lentils for protein. I really prefer lentils for this dish. Then you want to add some greens. I used frozen kale because it's convenient and I don't like spinach that much, but you can use spinach if you prefer it. But I let this cook for a while so that the kale, defrosted and wilted a little bit. And before adding the quinoa, I added some salt and pepper. I also added fresh basil, which is also a super important component in this dish to like really make it flavorful. I like this dish to look more red, so I added in some extra tomato paste in the end. And since the quinoa is already warm, I basically just cooked this until like I had incorporated the tomato paste and that was slightly heated up and the basil had wilted just a tiny bit. And again, we want to balance out the meal with healthy fats. Avocados and tomatoes are really good to combine with each other because the fats in the avocado, it can help with the absorption of the lycopene in the tomato. But yeah, this dish is so full of flavor, as I've said before, so I love making this. This next meal is kind of like whatever I have at home stir fry. So some vegetables you can only buy in packages. So like when I buy bell peppers, for instance, there's always like 2 or 3 in the package, but I tend to use only 1 from most of my recipes. So yeah, if I have any leftover vegetables from another meal that I made, this is what I make. But it's always different because it really depends on, yeah, whatever vegetables I have. This time I did have bell peppers and I also had some green beans in the fridge that I thought would fit with it. So I sauteed them in some avocado oil with some garlic, then I added some ground ginger. By the way, in the beginning you could see that I prepared some oat rice to have with this. I also added some salt. I feel like that's essential. I pretty much always have garlic and frozen vegetables at home, so I pick a fresh vegetables that's left over and pair it with a frozen veggie, maybe some garlic to add flavor. Sometimes I don't use garlic, but sometimes I do. Then I add whatever spices I think will fit with the vegetables. And this time, yeah, as you can see, I added ground ginger and salt. And of course, the garlic also adds flavor. For protein, I just add any type of legume. This time I chose cannellini beans. If I would have chosen chickpeas, I would likely have cooked them or like stir-fried them with everything else to make them a bit crispy, but I find that beans kind of get mushy if you do, so yeah. And as you can see, this meal is super simple, but it's so fresh and tasty. I decided to drizzle on some coconut aminos on top of everything in the end. And once again, I added half an avocado because that's what I do. No, but honestly, avocados, they contain lots of healthy fats, and I find that my skin looks much better when I consume a lot of avocados. This next meal might look similar to the previous one, but it's not because it's cold. I don't know if I would eat this a lot in the winter, but I made this in one of my What I Eat in a Day videos this summer, and I have been eating it on repeat since then. It's a cucumber radish salad with cannellini beans. Super fresh and crispy, perfect for summer, and so quick to make. So you just want to add cucumber cut into half moons into a large mixing bowl. Then add thinly sliced radishes and some fresh chopped dill. Then it's time to make a dressing. So for 2 servings, add 1 tablespoon extra virgin olive oil. Then you want to add half a tablespoon of lemon juice, 1 teaspoon Dijon mustard, and 1/4 teaspoon of honey or maple syrup. And then of course you want to add some salt and pepper to taste. And then just whisk everything so nothing is separated. Ideally, I would add the beans before the dressing, but it doesn't really matter because you're gonna mix everything anyway. But yeah, after adding the dressing and mixing everything around a bit, I added a can of cannellini beans just to add extra protein. If you prefer, I don't know, chickpeas, I do prefer chickpeas in general, but in this salad, I go for cannellini beans just to vary my legumes a bit, but also because I really think it's nice in this salad. And you can have this salad as a side, but I like to have it with quinoa for a complete meal. Quinoa has a complete amino acid profile, so it's great if you want to incorporate more protein into your meals. But that actually concludes this video. I hope you got some inspiration so that you know what to make for dinner those evenings when you just want something quick and easy but still healthy. You can eat this stuff for lunch as well, it doesn't have to be dinner. But anyway, don't forget to like this video if you found it helpful and subscribe to my channel for more healthy food content.